Hello, everyone, and welcome to École Polytechnique's webinar. Thank you for your interest and thank you for joining us. I am Pamela and I am in charge of the promotion of the different MSc&T programs. And joining me today is Alexandre and Lily. I will let them introduce themselves.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Pam.
Hi, everyone, and thank you for joining us. My name is Lily, and I'm the admissions manager of MSc&T programs.
So thank you, Pamela, for introducing us. I'm Alexandre Stegner. I'm professor at the École Polytechnique, and I am the head of the master's STEEM, Science, Technology, and Management. And it will be a pleasure to give you more information on this master.
Thank you. So as you know, today we're going to present to you the Master of Science and Technology in Energy Environment, Science, Technology, and Management, as well as its admission process. Just for information before starting, we will take all of your questions at the end of the presentation. So please feel free to use the Q&A button at the bottom of your screen to ask anything related to the program. So what is École Polytechnique? A few key facts for those who don't know. École Polytechnique is the French leading institute in science and technology based in Palaiseau, which is about 20 kilometers away from Paris, and was created in 1794. We are one of the best world university for students' employability, and we're very proud of that. And we have about 3,600 students coming from all over the world. So about 40% of international students, but also 40% of international teachers. And we offer different undergraduate and graduate programs from the bachelor degree to the PhD. The student life is very important at École Polytechnique. Students can take part in almost 250 different associations in cultural, artistic, social, scientific, and sporting activities. And the campus itself offers many services, such as banks, a post office, a therapist, a hairdresser, but also many facilities such as the library, research labs, innovation center, and lots of events are organized throughout the year, professional events, student events, and cultural events to allow students to make memories, enjoy their time, but also network and be prepared for their future career. So I will let Alexandre talk about the MSc&T and the program itself.
So hello, everyone. So the Master of Science and Technology STEAM, which is dedicated to the energy transition, is a mix. It's a multidisciplinary training, of course, including engineering science, technology courses, but also we have management, innovation, and entrepreneurship courses. Very important, there is hands-on experience in the sense that 2 internships are required to validate the master. This internship could be both corporate or research works. And we have several collaboration and close collaboration with companies. And the master is not only lectures, but it also what you have all around these lectures. I mean, scientific conference, company visits, access to the research lab, and different meeting and forum with industrial partners. So as I mentioned, the MSc&T Energy, Environment, and Management challenge the global warming. I mean, you all know that there is a permanent increase of the temperature, which is a big change in the climate. It's not only temperature, but it's also precipitation. And there is an urgent need to control and stop this global warming. And to do so, so this is a target for 1.5 degrees. Unfortunately, we are not confident that we could reach and achieve this target. Nevertheless, we need to stop that and to reach some kind of plateau. Maybe it will be 2 degrees. Nevertheless, to do that, we need to reduce our greenhouse gas emission. and how we can reduce that and how much we need to reduce. Today, we are about 40 gigatons of equivalent CO2 that are emitted every year. And the need, and the urgent need, is to reach net zero. Okay, net zero means zero emission for 2050, or even more than that. And what more than that means is to go below, to have negative emissions, so to have more absorption of CO2 than emission at the global scale on the planet. And to do that, there is a tremendous change to be done in the industry, both on the energy, but also on our the usage of the industry, the different way we produce goods, and to reach a net zero CO2 economy. So this is just to show you the trend for the last years, the last decades. We see there is a permanent, constant increase. There is a little drop during the COVID crisis. This drop was compensated last year in terms of we reached the same amount of annual CO2 emission, about 36 gigaton of CO2. And just to, what do you think about the percentage of fossil fuel which is used today for the final energy consumption in 2020? I mean, try to think and to give a number, and this number is very high. We are still about 80%, 78, maybe 75% of fossil fuels in our final energy consumption. And it means that there's still a long, long way to go. Even if you all heard about renewable energy, renewable sources, there's still the major sources is still fossil fuels. So to the intermediate target for 2030, 2030 is tomorrow. So tomorrow there is one target that was fixed by the EU of 55% of reduction of our emission, net reduction, to achieve the 2.5-degree limit, and 65% if we want to stay below 1.5 degree of global warming. But even 55 degrees, it's a big, big change. So to do that, you will be the generation, the engineers that will really face this issue. So to do that, you need scientific expertise on renewable energy, on storage, electricity production, heat production, but also a lot of, it's not also purely technological issues. It's also, it's needed to know how we can finance and how we can develop a social economic acceptances of a new way of production, new way of consume energy, and new way of produce goods. So it's a major change. So you need to have soft skill expertise in management, economics, also humanities, and be able, of course, to speak different languages. And on the top of that, the third pillar that will be provided by the master is scientific knowledge on what we are facing. I mean, I'm talking about climate change, but we are also facing atmospheric pollution. That is a result of this fossil fuel energy generation. And this is important because in our lab, we have all the experts that do work on these issues. So you will benefit from them to get this scientific knowledge and to understand why we are doing this transition. So just to give you a little overview of the kind of courses, the important point to understand here that you have choices, a lot of choices in the selection of the courses that you may follow. Here, for instance, you have 3 courses that per period that you have to choose among the wide diversity. It can be courses related to the renewable energy production, photovoltaics, wind energy, hydro, wind or marine resources, but also courses on hydrology or the water resource, the meteorology, And decision theory. I mean, all this is we're talking about also optimization of the energy usage. And of course, you have then electives that can be projects. And you have a lot of projects in labs or experimental works. And you have courses on management and maths. And of course, what I mentioned is the 4 months, the internship that will be 4 months in the year 1. And Pamela will show the year 2 now, probably. And so the year 2 is more, courses are more project oriented. You have here again, a big scope of science and engineering courses dedicated to, of course, the energy transition, the renewable energy, and the climate changes. But here again, you have management and a longer internship that is expected from 5 to 6 months in a research lab or in an industrial company. And as we already mentioned, we also requires you to follow courses on foreign language and humanities. I said that the campus and the master is not only lectures, it's also all the environment of the campus. So you have the CIRTA laboratory, which is an atmospheric observatory, which is the major in situ measurements of all the atmosphere in the Paris area. Here you have many sensors, many research instruments to monitor the atmosphere and also to make some tests on renewable energy production, how the atmospheric conditions, for instance, impact the production of PV panels. You have also the Energy for Climate, which is an interdisciplinary center. And here again, you see that interdisciplinarity is a major point to address this issue of climate change and energy transition. We need to understand the renewable energies, but also energy policies and the way that the energy is consumed. And as I mentioned, we have different partners very close to the lab. You have the IPVF, which is a French Institute for Photovoltaics, which is a consortium between research labs and companies. You have access to the IPSL, which is one of the major institutes on climate change. And on industrial partners, you have many companies that supports the master and the students. So, of course, what happens after the graduation? What will be the job? What are the jobs of the previous fellows from the master? You can, a wide majority, I would say, go in companies, corporate big companies or SMEs, and even some of them build their own startups to develop renewable energy technologies, promote innovation, and implement the energy environmental policies. You can go either in a research lab, a fraction of the students do a PhD after the master, or directly to public administration or international organizations related to the energy transition. And they reduce the optimization of the consumption as well. I suppose here I will leave the floor to Lily to give you more details of how you can apply to the master. Thank you.
I'm sorry. Thank you, Alexander. Do you hear me well?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, we.
Okay, good. Hello again, everyone. So I'm going to explain you how you can apply to the STEAM master. So first of all, in order to join the first year of this program, you need to have finished or be currently in your final year of a bachelor program in engineering degree or any field related to mechanical engineering or physics. In case of applying to the second year, you should have already obtained a Master 1 in one of those fields. Our Master of Science are focused on academic excellence, so you really need to have a strong motivation to join the program, and we must be willing to evolve in an international environment. 65% of our students are international, so
Lily, because we
we
can't
have
hear you well. I don't know if I'm the only one.
a high diversity of profiles in our class, and especially in the STEAM. So you will need to complete an online application form that you will be able to find in the website. You can create an account, and then
Can you hear us, Lily?
yeah.
We have some trouble hearing you.
Yeah, I know.
So.
Sorry. Okay, I can start over. Do you hear me better now?
It seems okay now. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I really apologize to everyone, and so we'll explain again the application procedure. You can see already the requirements in the screen on the screen. So for first year entry, you will need a bachelor degrees in engineering science, physics, or mechanical engineering. And to a second year entry, you'll need master one in one of those fields. We can go to the next slide, and I'll explain the application procedure. So, and then we will have also a testimony of an alumni
Yes, right after.
who will be joining us right
Yes.
after. So we can just go to the application procedure, and yeah.
Just for your information, if you are searching for different information, feel free to go on our website to scan that QR code, and you will be redirected to different testimonies from different alumni, and feel free also to reach out to them on LinkedIn. They're also very happy to exchange with future students and answer to all of your questions.
Yeah. So how can I apply? So you will be able to create an account in our online application platform, and you'll be requested to upload a list of supporting documents. The first of them is your transcripts. So we'll need the scanned copy of your transcripts of all your previous post-secondary education, including exchange programs. If you are currently in your last year of bachelor, you will have to upload an enrollment certificate, since you won't have all of your transcripts. And then you are required to provide us the contact details of 2 referees. One of them must be a professor, and the other one can be the supervisor of your last internship or job, or a professor as well. You'll find a section in the application form in which you can fill out the contact details, and they've been notified and receive an email to complete the references. And when it's done, you'll be notified as well. Then you'll have to fill out a personal statement. The model, the template is on the application form. You'll have a list of questions, motivational questions about what's your interest to join the program, what are your career goals, and we recommend you to be specific, be concrete and coherent in your answers, since some of the questions that we will actually ask during the interview are come from your personal statement, and you will have also scientific questions, and we will talk about this just in a few minutes. But yeah, try to be coherent and explain your current situation. So if you're doing an internship, an exchange program, and if you're in your last year of studies, that's very important for us to know. Then you'll need to upload a CV, and the CV has to be of only 2 pages and completely in English. include all of your work experiences, your academic background, extracurricular activities, personal projects, and you can explain us there as well more about your current situation, what you are doing right now, or what you are planning to do. For example, if you have obtained an internship in the summer, you can include that as well. And then an English test. This is an English speaking program, so you need to provide us an IELTS, TOEFL, or Cambridge test at a C1 level. The test must have been taken less than 2 years ago. And if you don't have this document by the deadline, you can upload your an attestation of enrollment to the test. So this way you can prove that you will take the test, but still complete your application form. In case of admission, of course, we will ask you for the official results. And in the meantime, give you a conditional admission until we receive the document. We do not require a GMAT, GRE, or Dutch Match, but if you have taken the test, you can upload it as a supporting document. And then you'll need to upload your passport and a photo taken recently, no more than 6 months ago. And finally, pay the application fee, which is 90 euros. If you have successfully completed the application request, and you will receive within 2 weeks a notifications from our side. You may be invited to an interview, which is the second phase of the application procedure, and this interview is online. It lasts around 20 to 30 minutes, and it will be in front of a jury, which is composed by the program director, then an admission member, and a professor eventually. So prepare for the interview in advance. It is going to be entirely in English. You will have questions regarding your scientific culture, your motivation to join the program, and anything you have done in an academic or professional context. We recommend also that to reach out students, current students or alumni if you can't. That may help you to prepare for the interview as well. After the interview, do you hear me?
Usama is here with us. Hello.
Okay.
So we're just going to let Usama testify about his experience at École Polytechnique in this program. And then we will go back to the different tuition fees. If Lily, you have mentioned everything you wanted about the interview and the application form.
Yes, I just wanted to finish my by saying that after the interviews, you will receive the final decision in about 2 or 3 weeks. So that will be all about the application procedure. And now let's welcome Osama.
Thank you. So Osama, welcome. And we will let you introduce yourself and exchange with people that are interested in that program.
Yeah, thank you very much. First of all, can you hear me well? Amazing.
Yes.
Perfect.
Hello, Usama.
Hello.
Welcome.
Yeah, hello, Professor Stegner. It's very nice to see you. Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for the invitation. Also, Pamela. It's very nice to be here with you because I start to remember the very nice days at École Polytechnique. So maybe to tell you a bit about my experience, my name is Usama. I'm from Morocco. Before joining Polytechnique, I did my bachelor in mechanical engineering in Bordeaux. And since during the bachelor time, I was very, let's say, oriented towards renewable energies, and I wanted that this be the focus of my, let's say, career. And so it was easy to go towards École Polytechnique and the STEEM program because it offered everything with regard to renewable energy and how it can be implemented And also it gave a broad overview of different types of renewable energies. So even if you're still not sure about which, let's say, one you would like to specialize in, you still can get a lot of feedback, or let's say a lot of knowledge, technical knowledge, scientific knowledge, also in-depth knowledge about different, let's say, branches within renewable energies. And so, yeah, I think it was 2019 to 2020 or 2020 to 2021. So these are the 2 years where I've been. The atmosphere was really nice. I remember when we came, all of us were living in the same campus, and everyone was coming from different parts of the world. It was the first time I'm in an environment with this many, let's say, people coming from different parts. So it was also nice, you know, to learn about different cultures and work with people coming from everywhere, and seeing how can a person adapt so that in the end you can finalize a good work. And I think that this is a very good thing to prepare you to also the future, when you will go to companies, international companies, and be flexible, like have a high sense of adaptability. Also, there were a lot of activities, I remember, which helped us students to bond together. I remember we had trips to a city in the north of France. I think it was for 2 days, where we did a lot of activities, fun activities, sports activities. Also, we had a lot of events in Polytechnique. So in École Polytechnique, there are a lot of, let's say, student associations called BINE, that are in charge of, let's say, planning events for the students to keep a lively, let's say, community inside the university or at École Polytechnique. And this is very nice. I think that this is something you will like. But let's say, coming back to the program itself, for me particularly, I was very much interested in solar energy. And to be fully honest with you, I came to the program with the idea that I want to be an entrepreneur and to have, you know, to open a business in the solar industry, or the solar field. So I was very much happy with also all the support which came through, let's say, the program leaders, by, for example, allowing us to meet people from the industry, and these people from the industry talked to us about how they started their businesses. Also, we had a lot of courses which have not to do only with the technical side of renewable energies, but also the how do you say, the marketing side, the economical side, and having this link between what we learned inside the class and then our meetings with the people from the industry had helped us, you know, to make a better idea of what we want. And yeah, why I'm saying this, because even though I had in mind that, yeah, after my master's, I will go to a company, then maybe I'll start my own company and be in this field, the possibility of meeting inside the university, not only industrial part or people, but also researchers, made me completely change my mind. So at the moment, I am doing my second year of PhD, so it has nothing to do with companies, but rather, you know, trying to improve, let's say, or advance the scientific knowledge in the solar field. So I'm working on the implementation of a new type of solar cells called perovskite silicon solar cells. And I like always to say this small story because it shows how, let's say, I don't know what's the best word, but at École Polytechnique, you can do everything. Like if you're really oriented towards research, then you have a lot of professors, a lot of researchers, which you can meet and benefit from their experience. And you have the other side, which is working in a company or working in a consulting agency. And this also, there are a lot of people from the industry, which you can meet and learn from their experience. I don't know if I'm talking too much, but to wrap it up, I would say that first of all, it's good that you are here because it's really an opportunity not to miss. And hopefully when you get accepted, do not really like, I remember a professor told me, now you got accepted to this prestigious school, you have a key and you need to know how to use it. So you need to be the one, you know, like trying to benefit from all the benefits, or let's say the advantages which come with being in the school. So getting in contact with all of the people and benefiting from all the different, let's say, opportunities within the school. And if you have any questions, maybe I will stop here. I would be very happy to answer.
stay with us until the end of the webinar, but we will let you know if there are some questions for you. Thank you.
Yeah, I can stay like 10 more minutes and then
Okay.
I have to go back to the lab.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
So yes, there are more, much more, there are many more testimonies that you will be able to see on the website. So do not hesitate to read them and maybe reach out some students in order to ask them directly questions as well. You can do it on LinkedIn. It's very easy right now. The most of us are joining LinkedIn more and more. So I invite you to do that. And then we will continue with the next slide, which is the tuition fees. We're going to talk about it. And so the tuition fees for this program is 14,100 per year. These are fees that won't change for your first and second year, so it's still the same. We have financial aid for students, international students, French students. I mean, no matter the nationality, what we are looking for is our interesting profiles, actually students who are really motivated but can also prove academic excellence and that are actually in the need of financial aid. You don't need to send a new application for the scholarships. Actually, we evaluate the students after the interviews. So you will receive the admission and maybe 1 week later a scholarship offer, if that's the case for you, of course. I must say as well that they are very competitive, but we have different industrial partners and scholarships coming from the École Polytechnique Foundation as well. So you're still on time if you're interested in the financial aid. We normally give most of them during the first and second round of admissions, and the next deadline is February 12th. So here you can see the 3 rounds. The first one was last November, and now we are in the second one. And we'll have a new one until April 30. I invite you to scan the QR codes. You will go directly to the website and see the list of documents that you will need and the calendar. If you have any question about the application procedure or any question regarding the program, you can contact us to jdadmissions@polytechnique.fr. And we'll be able to just advise you and any question that you may have. So don't hesitate to do it. And now we can go to the Q&A section. Yeah, I see many questions here, like 3 questions.
Are you considering accepting master graduates from business schools?
So generally, we require a scientific background, since the program actually is strongly focused on that, but also management. I will let Alexander tell us as well, complement my answer, but if you have a business school background, actually you will also need to have strong knowledge in physics and mathematics, maybe, in order to compensate the not having an engineering degree, for example. But I will let Alexander tell us more about it, since he has more information about the atypical profiles that he may have received.
Yes, yes, as you mentioned, Lily, this is an engineering program, and we do require scientific background. So if you have only a business school degree, it won't be enough. We do accept some students who did a business school degree, but that did before at least some years of bachelor or have some degree in science. If you just have a business school degree, unfortunately, it won't be enough.
Thank
That's
you.
it. Well, it makes sense. It makes sense. You won't have the prerequisite to follow the program.
For students from the MSc Renewable Energy and applying for the second year, how does the selection work?
So the students who apply to Renewable Energy apply via Renewable Energy. There is a specific selection for this program. And so they are selected via this program. So they first have to be selected on Renewable Energy program. And then among the students selected in this program, we are doing our own selection procedure. And some of them will be accepted for year 1 or year 2 at the École Polytechnique. Okay, but being accepted at the Renewable Energy program doesn't mean that you will be necessarily directly accepted to 1 year of this program. Do I answer the question? Does it answer your question?
Yeah, and
so.
yeah, I invite you also to visit the InnoEnergy website in order to get information about the admission, since it doesn't happen in our online platform. As Alexander said, first you need to be admitted in the InnoEnergy program, René, and then you'll be able to choose. No, you will be choose in order to priority the schools that you wish to apply to.
What is the size of each class for this program? And what is the selection rate? Is it very difficult to get admission for non-EU students?
So maybe I will answer this question. The size of the program, so there's multiple questions. The size of the program is around 30 to 40 students per year, following the same master. But when you are in class, it may be bigger or smaller. It depends, because the lectures, most of the lectures are shared with other programs, with the engineering school of the École Polytechnique, and also some other master programs. So you have some classes you share with these other students, and sometimes you can be 100 in a class, and sometimes you can be 10 or 12, depends on, especially for lab session. So it really depends on which class you follow, basically. But the program is about 30 to 40. And the selection process, of course, is competitive. But if we are, of course, if you are from non-EU, it's not an issue, okay? If you are a good student, you are an excellent student, we, of course, we will take you in. But it's competitive. It's really on your academic records that we select the students. So good chance.
Yeah, and just to complement, STEAM is one of the most diverse programs in terms of nationalities. So most of our students are international, and STEAM is the is the program which is the most international, actually. So no nationality actually is restricted in order to apply.
Yeah, we have many non-EU students, so don't worry. We are not selecting only EU students.
Yeah.
And how is the job prospectus in France after the master's degree? I know that most of the energy in France is nuclear, but what about jobs in the solar, wind energy, and newer energy technologies?
So to answer this question, it's not because the major source of electricity production is nuclear, that there is no big and tremendous changes to be made in all the industry. Okay, you have transportation, you have heat, and you have all the industry which is really need to change and to adapt. And there's also still a lot of projects also on renewables in France, but our students are not dedicated to the French market. I mean, we are, as I mentioned, we have a lot of international students, and many students go in EU or other part of the world. Okay, the master is not dedicated to provide, I mean, engineers for only the French ecosystem. It's the worldwide issue. It's a worldwide ecosystem. So our students go in companies everywhere in the world. And they can go in a French company, but they may be working in an office outside, abroad. Okay, but they go everywhere in the world.
Yeah, more and more companies in France and in Europe, in France, are also looking for international profiles and English-speaking students who have like technical and management skills, and this is the core actually of the MSc&T programs, and especially in these sectors.
If I may add, I myself, I am not an EU student, and I was accepted to the program. And at the moment, I am working not in France, but in Germany. So this is, I think, a perfect example.
Yeah.
With this, if I may be excused, because I need to leave. But thank you very much once again.
Thank you.
And best of luck
Thank
to
you,
everyone.
Usama.
Thank you. Have a nice
Bye-bye,
day.
Usama.
Bye.
Nice to see you.
Thank you. Thank you. See you. Ciao.
See you.
We have another question. Where can we find the list of institutions with which École Polytechnique has an agreement for application fee waivers?
In the case of STEEM, we have only a few of agreements. I would suggest you to ask your university if they have an agreement with the École Polytechnique. That would be the best way in which you can know, or maybe you can write in the chat the name of your university and we can tell you directly as well. So
it's maybe I can comment on that, Lily. I think it's written on the website, but mainly we have some agreements with some Chinese universities, some engineering school in Morocco, and also in Australia so far.
Yeah.
For all the other universities, European university is more partnerships, but you don't have a reduction of the tuition fees. Each university apply its own tuition fees, and we accept students from different university in the partnership, but there's no waivers, free tuitions.
If there is an agreement, we can, and you are coming from a partner university which has an agreement specifically for the MSc program and specifically for the STEAM program, yeah, there are possibilities of waiving, but it will depend on the agreement, of course, of the application fee. And that's why I would tell you, just write the name of your school, or just you can ask your university or send us an email to GTED admissions, and we'll give you a precise answer on that.
Thank you. It says on the website that the program starts in September. So is there a specific or recommended date to get to France for international students?
We recommend you to be here by late August, because the welcome week happens in the first week of September. So not to be in a rush, it will be better to be some few days before in order to like get familiar with the school and with commuting, or getting to know a little bit more about the way of life here in France, and specifically in Paris and Palaiseau. So that will be our advice. Of course, it will depend also on your own constraints, if you're able to get at that time. For admitted students, recommend always to be in contact with us if you have some delay with your visa applications, or if you're having an late arrival, please let us know, because there are events since the very first week of September, so it's important for us to be always in communication with you. The second question is about dorms. Yeah, there are housing options, of course, on campus, and we actually prioritize students. Most of the accommodation is prioritized for newcomers students to France, but we will give you the information at the time of enrollment. the criteria, and the cost, and also the dates in which you will be able to make a request. But there are possibilities to stay on campus, or otherwise we'll give you a list of residencies that may be able around campus, so you can also apply to them.
Thank you. A student from Ghana with a bachelor's degree in environment and resource management wants to know if he is qualified for the MSc&T STEEM. So I guess he can maybe send you the different documents about his degree.
Yeah, actually, you already have a bachelor in environment and resource management, as Alexander said. Please take into account, we also check that you have the academic requirements, which are mathematics and science courses and physics. So that's very important to mention in your application form and the personal statement, your CV if you want. But yeah, since you already have a bachelor, that's the first requirement. But then, of course, the jury will evaluate your application request. And if you are pre-selected, of course, we'll ask you more and during the interview, but you can apply to the first year.
We have another question about the students from the program. Do we have professionals as students?
You mean students who have already professional experience, I guess?
Yes.
Yes, of course. Lots of our students have already years of experiences. Some of them just a few years, some of them just 1 year, some of so 1, 2, 3 years. Of course, that's very valuable. And if it's in energy, in the energy sector, that's very much aligned actually to what expects in candidates. So the answer is yes.
Maybe I will add some comment on that.
Mm-hmm.
We do have indeed, yes, several students who already have a professional experience. The question is that you must understand that you will stay 2 years going back to be a student. And if you have a very long professional experience, this could be an important question. Are you ready to, after 5 or 6 years of professional experience, to go back and return to the university? And this is something very important to explain and to motivate in your decision why you are doing that, and that if you are ready to spend 2 years as a student, okay? That's important, very important for us to understand what is your motivation if you do that. We generally are more careful on, because we have the experience of some previous applicants who were there and being a long time working in companies, so with a long distance to their studies and their years as a student, could be quite difficult to go back at the university. And that's important to really be sure on your motivation. So you have to explain that. If you have just 1, 2, 3 years of professional experience, especially if they are related to the energy transition, this will be a plus, of course.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, having a long professional experience, maybe I mean, maybe you would be a profile for an executive master, or maybe another type of master, MBA, for example. So take into account that most of the other students will have from 1 to 3 years of experience, and if you see yourself actually in this class, you will need to adapt. And so what kind of concessions you can do. And as Alexander said, if you are as science students who have never been working in energy sector, for example, that might be interesting. But if you have a large experience in energy sector or in any other field, yeah, I would ask you to give it a second thought in order to actually compare what would be better for you in a long term.
And your answers are actually related to another question about the full-time and part-time. Someone wants to know if they can follow the program part-time, so with the alternance.
Unfortunately, no. This is a full-time master, but you'll have the chance to do 2 internships. One during the second semester of the first year, and the second one will be in your last year, also in the second semester. So this way you will obtain your professional experience, but and this is a very demanding program. Actually, it requires of all of your energy, but you will have the time to do your internships during the second semester.
And maybe it should mention that the internship are paid. I mean, when you are students, master students, you may have access to, well, correct interns stipend. It's not you are doing research in a lab, you will be for free. Okay, it's not free, the internship are paid. So, but we don't have today's organization of the master. You cannot do what we call the alternating system, working 2 days in a company, 3 days in the master, for instance.
What is the difference between this program and the Masters in Energy from IP Paris?
So I will explain the main difference. This master, as I said, there is 3 pillars. One of these pillars is related to management and economics. And this is something that is quite important because we do believe that, as I mentioned, the energy transition is not only a scientific question, it's also a question of how are we going to finance the transition and how it will be accepted in the society, how we can change the organization of the companies. So this is a very strong pillar that is not, I would say, in the IP Paris Energy Master. And more generally, we are, I would say, really focused on the transition and the renewable transition. We do not really consider natural gas, I would say, as an option. We have specific classes and a very specific training to help the students to find their internships, to help the students to find a job. That is the program Explore Your Future. And we have also, well, a diversity of contacts and visits that are organized for the students. So these are the main difference, I would say, between these 2 masters. We are sharing some courses, of course, with this master because we are partner at the IP Paris Institute. So you will maybe in some classes you will be with the other students of the IP Paris. But these 2 programs are different in their structure, their goals, and also I would say the resource that we do provide for you as a student, but also for your extracurricular activities and helping you to find a job.
Thank you. Is there research happening around green hydrogen and power on campus?
There is some research labs that are working on these issues. We have a collaboration also with Air Liquide, which is one of the main companies working on this question of hydrogens and how to distribute the hydrogen, and they have demonstrators on that and also pilot plants. There is also, I think, some startups that works or try to push on the hydrogen on the campus. I need to check that.
Can the internships be done inside École Polytechnique, or should it be done in another institution or company?
So you can do your internship inside the École Polytechnique in a research lab. You can do your internship in a startup that is inside of the École Polytechnique incubator. So the internship can be done inside of the campus, but it can be done also outside. And many students do the internship outside because they want also to see what's happening outside in foreign countries or in different cities. So, well, both inside and outside are possible. And you also have in the surrounding of the of the campus. I mean, you have the academic campus, but in the surrounding, it's a techno campus, I would say. You have many companies here. You have the research center of EDF, which is, I would say, 10-minute walking distance, and the IPVF, which is here again, 10-minute walking distance from the École Polytechnique. So yeah, it can be in the campus, in the surrounding of the campus, and everywhere in the world.
We have 3 different questions in one. So the first one is, I'm a French student attending university in the UK. Am I still able to apply for the course?
Yes, of course. Why not? If you have good academic records, if you are motivated, and if you think this master suits you, come apply.
And the second question is also, how much autonomy do we have in terms of module choices? Is there a lot of mandatory modules?
So this master is quite special because we do not have so many mandatory courses. There is a few, but most of the modules are, you have the choice. Of course, there is a question of agenda, because since we are offering a lot of choice, you may have some overlap between courses. But nevertheless, in general, you have to choose 3 courses among 5, or 3 courses among 8, or 2 among 4. I mean, you always have the choice. And why that? Because the scope is the energy transition. We are not focusing on one type of energy production. We are not focusing only on PV and solar and wind, for instance. We are also interested in carbon capture. We want to provide a diversity of courses, and you have to build your own selection that makes sense. Of course, the idea is not to do something that grabbing one thing here and here, trying to grab different parts that putting them together makes sense in your general studies. So there is a lot of options, yes.
And the third question is, how is the program split between the different forms of renewable energies?
So maybe this is part of the options. We say, in general, you have for each type of renewable energy production, that could be, I would say, PV, wind, hydro, or bio, not biogas, but bioenergies. In general, you have an introductory general lecture, which is an introductory lecture. And then you have more advanced for those who want to go to push forwards and to learn more. In general, you have 2 types, the general introduction and the more advanced courses, or the more practical courses that is related to the first courses, which is the general knowledge. You have also courses on the network, very important, the network, smart grid systems. And here again, you have a general lecture and advanced courses. But here again, it's optional. You can choose the general lecture and that's it. Now you can choose for other types, general plus the advanced. It depends on what you are the most interested in.
In the list of supporting documents to apply, there is a copy of TOEFL taken less than 2 years before. I obtained CAE grade B in 2017. Since then, I have participated in the Athens programs and Erasmus, both held in English. And the question is, does my knowledge of English seem valid for the enrollment process?
So I would have said yes if the if the grade in the CAE would have been C. Unfortunately, you have a B, so you will need to take a test, IELTS, TOEFL, or the Cambridge test. We do not take into account exchange programs to validate the English proficiency test. You could waive it if you have followed your entire undergraduate studies in English. That may be a possibility to waive the English test, but no exchange programs.
Do you have some students that don't graduate? And if yes, what is the rate?
So I will answer this question. In general, we select students that are so motivated and have the good quality that they graduate. The only situation that happens that I know so far that students didn't graduate is unfortunately for psychological issues. They quit the program. Or they didn't finish their internship, and this, of course, if you don't finish the program, if you don't validate classes, you don't graduate. But it's most. I mean, if you are accepted and if you work correctly and you put all your effort in the master, you get the master. I mean, there is no students who didn't graduate because their level was not good enough. In general, we do our best to help the students. You have tutorials, you have many things that helps you to follow the program. And if we select you, that it means that we trust in you, okay, that we trust you. So in general, there's no issue on the graduation, unless you quit the program or you have psychological issue. Then unfortunately that happens, and we have a psychological team, I would say, the medicines that can help you, but if the students quit the campus, we cannot do anything. So unfortunately it happens. It happens once, and well, on this situation, yeah.
Thank you. Are there any fully funded scholarships for exceptional profiles?
It may happen, but yeah, will depend. It varies from year to year. Actually, it will depend on how many scholars we have, the profile of the students. Yeah, we cannot give you a precise information about that. It may happen, yeah, if we have very good profiles. Alexander, you can also give us complement my answer on that.
I mean, it depends what you mean by fully funded. If fully funded means you don't have to pay the tuition fees or a scholarship that will pay for you the tuition fees, yes, we do have. If you mean that you want to have fully funded a scholarship that pays the tuition fees plus the living expense and so on and so on, no, we don't have a full package that pay everything. Globally, the maximum amount of the scholarship corresponds to the tuition fees. And then you may ask, some students ask to a complementary scholarship from their country for oversight. Some of them merge different scholarship, but as far as I know, I mean, we do not, I'm sure they do not provide something that is a full package with the scholarship plus the living expenses. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. And doesn't include accommodation, doesn't include your living expenses. It covers the tuition fees. But you can make a search on your own and get information on Campus France or maybe other institutions that give specific scholarships for your students coming from your country, for example. There are many ways in which you can fund your studies. Or maybe ask, we also have the possibility to provide our admitted students a student loan since September, so they can apply. This is a loan at 0% tax rate, so they will also have to reimburse the loan at the graduation. So after just graduating, they will be able to do that. The amount it may be to cover your tuition fees or living expenses. Then you are free actually to dispose of this loan, but it has to be reimbursed, of course. And the amount cannot go out more. It cannot be more than 6,000 euros. So just take that into account if you are doing your trying to get more information about the budget you will need or not to study in France. This is a master in which you can find lots of scholarships from different institutions, which is of good news because there are more and more organizations interested in renewable energies, energy transition, and so yeah, I mean, you may find other possibilities to complement the scholarship.
Thank you.
I just add that the internships are paid. So this is
And the
also
internship can
a
help as
source
well.
of, can help, yeah. I mean, the students in general, it's a mix of both.
Are students in the STEAM program allowed to register additional courses beyond what is required from the program?
Can they do more than, I mean, there is a
Yes,
minimum amount of lectures that is needed to validate the program. If you want to do more, you can do more. There is no, some students do more than have 1 or 2 extra lectures. They can follow this lecture at the École Polytechnique. Some of them want to follow this lecture somewhere else. If it's in the École Polytechnique or the IP Paris, we may put them on the transcript, the grades, if you want. If you don't want, we don't put them. More than 2 lecture years, I never see that, because you don't have the time, and it's, unless you are an exceptional candidate, an exceptional student, it will be very difficult. Okay, but one extra lecture, 2 already, it starts. I have one who made 2 extra lecture 1 year, but it's exceptional in general. And you have the choice among the lectures which are proposed. So don't worry.
And we have one last question about the MSc&T degree. So is there any difference with the master's degree? And is it recognized worldwide, or do I need any equivalent certificate outside EU?
It's a master degree.
Yeah, and you're able to follow
recognized,
PhD studies after your studies, so it's recognized worldwide.
Yeah,
in
the
France,
MSc&T
so
is a
you can do
master's
it.
degree.
Yeah, it's recognized as a master degree in France and worldwide. So, and many students do a PhD afterwards. So don't worry about that.
Okay, well, I think we answered all of the questions. Once again, feel free to scan the QR code and ask other questions to GD admissions. Thank you so much for your attention, and have a nice day.
Thank you, and hope to see you soon on the campus, those who are interested. Welcome. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.